strive for what is right and pleasing in God's sight.
The winds of change are sweeping through the region. Change is long overdue. This is a new year. These are new times. We are the New Democratic Party. This is the New Times program with your host. We are ready. What about you?
Listen, good morning to the listeners of Nice Radio and in particular listeners of the New Times program. This is the New Times program for Tuesday, the 12th of March. I'm your host today, Clement Robert Francois. Thanks for joining me on the program. This program is a production of the New Democratic Party of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The president and leader is Dr. the Honorable Godwin Friday, and he is a 5 times elected representative of the Northern Grenadines. It's an interactive program, and when we do open the lines, the numbers to call are 784-456-5967. That's 784-456-5967. You can also reach us at 718-734-5615, 718-734-5615, or by way of the WhatsApp, you can send us a text there also, 784-498-3802. That's 784-498-3802. You could send me, link me up by way of my Facebook page. You could send us email, bdsnice@gmail.com. That's bdsnice@gmail.com. As usual, we start the program by reading from the Bible. And this morning, our reading is from Proverbs 3, 5-6. Proverbs 3, 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths. So that's our reading this morning, Proverbs 3, 5-9. It's 9 minutes to the 11 o'clock hour, 9 minutes to the 11 o'clock hour. We have a very, very packed program today. Chairman and Honorable Representative for West Kingston, Honorable Daniel Cummins, will be joining us pretty early in the program as normal, so we'll hear from him in a bit. He also had an interview on Hot 97 this morning, which I want to play you back just before we get Brother Cummins in with us. Okay, so that's where we are this morning in terms of the program. Reminding you of two important events this week. Central Kingston Heroes Day activity and the Heroes Dinner of North Windward.
This March 14, National Heroes Day, the Block 2000 Old Montrose Community Group in the Hennessy Starlift Steel Orchestra under the auspices of the Parliamentary Representative, the Major, once more invite you to Block 2000 Old Montrose this Heroes Day, March 14, to serenade, honor, salute, and celebrate their national heroes. This year, our heroes are Mrs. Sylvia Ferdinand, legendary shopkeeper and best mobby maker of Lower Kingston Park, Pauls Avenue, for her community public service to all and sundry. Mrs. Gisela Miller Primus, a centenarian and woman of charity to work with the Salvation Army. At last, the uncrowned king of Calypso himself, Robert Patches Knights King, for his generation of Kaiso and contribution to culture. He says he was a sportsman too, and yes, the quiet one. Bartram Tom he baked for the whole village and still found time to build Starlift with his silent talent. Axado, the two of them used to play bass band. Yes, come let's celebrate our heroes in music, song, food, and folk drama and drinks. Entertainment galore. Block 2000. Here and enjoy. See concert. Yes, come, let's celebrate our heroes in music, song, food, and folk drama and drinks. Entertainment galore at Block 2000. Hear an enjoyable sleep and concert from your premier steel orchestra, Starlift. A live band full force. Remember last year when Beckett sang Teaser with them? He might come again to support his long-standing friend Patches. A swim stay. The Grudges will be there, Pinchum and Riddles, and a snuffy solo. If you could hear what I say, BDS Sound Crew, free medical checks. You can even get a hairdo. And why me tell us say, a real thing to eat now. Local juice, fried fish are running out of bread. Block 2000, they have it. The fun starts at 2 p.m. Presentation and awards 4 p.m. Day, miss a day, miss a day, miss a day. Oh, come celebrate our Heroes Day. Miss Ford, Primus, Patches, and Tom, we honor you because you are worthy. See you on March 14.
Calling all heroes and supporters of North Windward. Mark your calendar for a night of honor and inspiration. The North Windward Constituency Committee presents the Heroes Dinner on March 16, 2024 at the Georgetown Secondary School Auditorium. Join us at 7 p.m. for an evening filled with gratitude and recognition. This is your chance to celebrate the real heroes in our community while supporting a worthy cause. Tickets for this unforgettable event are just $60. Don't miss out on this opportunity to come together and make a difference. Reserve your seats now by contacting the North Windward Fundraising Committee. Let's honor our heroes and build a brighter future together. Be there on March 16th at 7 p.m. Georgetown Secondary School Auditorium.
So just reminding you of those two events. Thursday, Heroes Day activity, Central Kingston community activity. And on the 16th, the Heroes Dinner, North Windward. You don't want to miss those two events. We have a lot of other events coming up. We'll give you them as the week progresses and also next week. We have with us, as I told you early, we have with us the chairman of the New Democratic Party, Honorable Daniel Cummins, representative for West Kingston, and he is here with us. Remember, we are streaming also live on the NDP Facebook page and on our YouTube channels. You could join us there. Let me say pleasant good morning to Brother Daniel. Good morning. Daniel, you hearing us loud and clear? I'm seeing you moving, but I'm not hearing you. So is your mic on?
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much, Bert. I'm hearing you loud and clear, and good to be on the program. Looking forward to today's show. Today is one of those days when I'm having a very packed day, but that's the nature of how we do business as a representative for the constituency of West Kingston. And there's always something that's coming up that needs my attention, but we signed up for this.
Okay.
It's part of the job. I'm continuing on the exercise of trying to meet every single household in the constituency in the shortest possible time. I do this on a regular basis, but it's for me in and out of the campaign season. It's a matter of getting to know all of the constituents of West Kingston, regardless of the politics, to understand their needs, their strengths, their weaknesses, and to prepare ourselves for the governance of the country, which should come by the grace of God and not long from now. So I want just to say a very special good morning to all of the people of West Kingston, whom I love dearly, regardless of your politics. When you enter politics, you will understand, of course, that all of the people will never be supportive of you, no matter what you do. But I am cognizant of this, but it doesn't stop me from trying my very best to ensure that whatever we do benefits all of the people. It's one of the reasons why I say to my friends. I don't ask anybody whom they support. To me, that's insultive. People have a right to select who they want to vote for. And if you're getting involved in politics, the objective is to better the lives of all of the people under whose influence you're privileged for the time being to be responsible for. And I take that with all the seriousness it deserves. And I cherish the opportunity of meeting with so many of my constituents there. No matter how often you visit a constituency, but there are some homes that for whatever reason you never get a chance to meet with anybody in them. I'm amazed how even after all these years, occasionally I do run across some of the homes like that because they are hidden behind some little back alley. And, I don't leave out any area, but I'm always surprised when I find out there are homes that I did not yet visit. And I always get a good welcome because the typical response is politicians don't come here. But you really have to go through some very difficult terrain to reach some of these homes. Since John Horn left West Kingstown, there's been virtually no extension of footpaths. The roads have deteriorated considerably throughout the constituency. There's so much to be done. I mean, I tell you the honest truth, I don't know how it is that the people of West Kingstown, especially the van drivers, haven't blocked all the roads as yet. Because if you take a drive on the road from Kingstown going to Edinburgh into Otley Hall, but you would never believe that this is a road on which van drivers have to operate all day long. It's like Kickham Jenny in the extreme. There's no escape in the potholes. It's just awful. And they refuse to build that short extension that would give an alternative route through Upper New Montrose coming out just above Faith Temple. That will allow people to escape the worst part, well, the relatively worst part, because the whole road is in a mess. But that lower section from Dr. Kirby's residence down to the cemetery, it's horrible. It's really unbelievable that in today's days, and unfortunately, see that the delegates didn't have to pass through that area, so no need to do anything to the road. So I just want to again greet everybody and to let you know that I'm here and I will continue so long as God gives me the ability to do all that I can in my power to meet and greet you and to see what we can do in whatever way to make your life better and to try and get this rogue government to do what is necessary, what you pay for as a taxpayers without asking any favor from anybody. So thank you very much for now.
Thank you, Daniel. You have already touched on two areas I wanted some discussion on. So I'll come back to them, but just to let the listeners know, and also your interview this morning, I want to play that back about 11:30 or so. I given persons time for those who didn't hear it to get yourself organized, get your cup of tea or your juice, or go under the mango tree. Mango not in season, right? So you're safe.
Not a lot.
Right, not a lot. And you could, so I'll play that about 11:30, okay? So just to keep you in tune. Daniel, I had a note here because I am curious is the right word. I'm not too sure. How do you make it? I mean, visiting, I know you did it before. I heard you and I happen to be with you two pictures of you. How do you make it to
but
and before you answer, you stated before, but I'm gonna put it in. Why do you think there's a need to see everybody? You don't need everybody vote, Daniel.
And now therein lies the answer. This is not just about people and how they vote. My entrance into politics was driven by the need to enhance the lives and the livelihoods of the people whom I represent in Parliament. This is not about Daniel Cummings, but I have a team of women in West Kingstown who have been with me from the very start and are a very critical component of this exercise that I am on in meeting and greeting people. And they give me the courage and the strength to go on because they are ready to go so long as I am available. And I tell people the experience that I gain in getting to know the members of my constituency, including all their family members, is something that I treasure deeply. It's not about party politics. It's not even about general politics. It's about knowing these people, knowing what their vision for this country is, how their lives can be improved by the policies and the decisions that the government will take, and just having frank discussion, whether you support the New Democratic Party or not. I like to sit with you where you are and hear from you um, how you see things, because most of the people who support the ULP are totally dissatisfied with the way this country is being run. And they are generally in agreement with the plans and programs that the NDP has to offer. And my aim is to help them to understand that this new Democratic Party is not about Mama Guy and people. It's not about the hype. It's focusing on what is important. How do we enhance the lives of all of the people and create opportunity for meaningful jobs, Bert? Not just about creating jobs. To tell me that your unemployment is down to X% because 5,000 people get 2 weeks work or 10 days work on the road is an insult to our people, a gross insult. That's not employment. That's slavery. We want to create quality jobs where people can look their children in the eye and say, Mom and Dad, we are able to send you to school. We're able to put food on the table. We don't have to prostitute before anybody or any organization. We earn a decent living from the hard work that we do. And we want to put you through school and give you the chance that we didn't have to achieve your dreams. That is what drives me, Bert. And I have encountered over the years about 4 or 5 families in West Kingstown that refuse to have any dialogue with me. And I just laugh. And I continuously knock on their doors. If they want to say no, that's always their privilege. But it doesn't stop me because my mission it has nothing to do with whether or not you support me. I tell everybody very proudly, I understand that you have the right to support whichever party you want. I am not going to argue with you on that. That's your God-given right, and that should be between you and the Creator. Not interfering with that, but I meet with everybody. I talk with everybody, and most importantly, I listen to everybody. And that is why I understand fairly well what the needs of the people of West Kingstown is. That's when I hear the other side talk about unemployment is this and unemployment is that. I just laugh because it tells me that they are not doing what they should be doing. They have not a clue about what is really happening with our people. You can only find that out if you do what we in the New Democratic Party do. We meet the people where they are. Dr. Friday is on a mission, but visiting all of the constituencies, meeting and greeting the people to get for himself firsthand the views of the people. And that is what matters. We don't sit in our ivory tower and pretend that we know what the people want. We have ideas and we share those ideas. We encourage people to help fashion those ideas. Take the sporting initiative that we came up with, for example. I mean, this is born out of the understanding that sports is so important in our lives. It's not just as it used to be a airy-fairy, hanky-panky something. It is an opportunity for good livelihood.
True.
But for that to materialize, we must take it with the seriousness it deserves and put a system in place where your childbirth and mine, as well as that of the Prime Minister and any member of this society, has an equal opportunity to develop the God-given talents with the assistance and quality support from the state once that child passes a certain screen on abilities and so forth. And this is what we are working on with all the sports organizations and professionals to agree on what that standard of performance will be for a youngster to qualify for the state to invest in that child so that they can attain the maximum they can. And of course, that policy would entail developing more quality sports facilities throughout the island, because we are woefully short on that. This sporting plan that the NDP has come up with is not a fly-by-night issue. It is grounded in the needs of our people. Grounded. I mean, all of us as candidates, as representatives, we know how difficult it is for our people to access the poor quality facilities that we already have. We know how few of them have any lighting, and most of them are locked up 24/7. You know, why build a facility if you don't intend it to be used for the people? In West Kingston, the one facility they ever built in all the years. Huh? After spending millions, say they're going to build a community center in Lowmans. They come and they hurry before the last election, so they put it on a hard court. Nobody has ever had a chance to play a game on that hard court after all these years. Isn't that mama guy? That is what representation is about. That is so sickening, it isn't funny. They want to use it for their political purpose. It has nothing to do. But if you're going to put down a hard court, the first thing you want to do is to go into a community where the population would have easy access to it and discuss with them what is the best location. And the members of the community must have access. They must control when it is being opened. Not some broker in some office who doesn't understand the community at all. You know, the facility must be made available so that the young people can exercise. I mean, sporting, you know, unfortunately, this government don't get it. It is linked to our well-being, our health, because the kids who jump in these vans to travel a few yards to get to school and so forth, they're lacking exercise, and you can see the level of obesity. They need to have an environment where they can burn up some of those calories, where they can be fit and trim, and it would help them in all aspects of their life. They would be less disobedient, they would be less prone to tantrums, they would, and of course, all the attendant health problems of obesity, the sugar, the pressure, the heart, and all of that can be reduced. So the sporting plan that the New Democratic Party is coming up with, but it focuses on sport, but it has wider implications for the population. And that is what drives us, what is best for the people of this country.
Yeah. Daniel, I hear your feelings, I go into it, and I know persons, you know, understand where you're coming from and that passion. And as you mentioned, two things. One, you're there to represent everybody. And there are some persons who may not understand that because for the last 20 years, they're accustomed to his party in power, and you only look out for one set of persons, and it makes some time when you visit them for them to realize that, listen, you have a right to vote who you want, but I'm here to represent everybody, and I look out for everybody. And so that's good work, and I hope that not just in West Kingston, but throughout the length and breadth of St. Vincent and Grenadines, that persons understand that that's what the NDP is saying, that is a governance for all. Yes?
It's not unusual, but for me to be visiting a family that openly tell me that they're ULP supporters. And for somebody to who is visiting to ask if election is round the corner. And what I experience is I don't have to respond to that. The family whom I'm visiting would turn to the person and say, what you talking about? Mr. Cummins is with us all the time, in and out of politics, because that is the reality. I visit these families on an ongoing basis. Nobody has to ring a bell to tell me that I must go and talk to my people in West Kingston. I chose to get involved in politics. I chose to be one of the persons to represent the interests of these people in West Kingston. And I take that responsibility with a level of seriousness that is uncanny. It's for me not a joke. I don't do anything in life lightly. I have a purpose, I have a mission, and I stick to it. And so long as God gives me the strength, and so long as the people of West Kingston so desire, I will serve the people with all I have got to the best of my ability, with the hope that everybody in the constituency will have a better life. In my previous engagement, Bert, I tell people the best times in my life thus far have been when I was a Rotarian, because Rotary is one of these noble institutions that allow you to touch the lives of people in a very positive way. And you know, over the years, Rotary has been able to do some magnificent projects through Rotarians and others in the community. And when I became involved in politics, I had to make one of the toughest decisions of my life, and that is to exit Rotary. For the very simple reason that I didn't want anyone to even suggest that I am using Rotary for the purpose of my political advantage. That would, to harm an institution of that kind like that, for me is terrible. And it would not have been the case if I were a Rotarian, because, you know, in the few years I was in politics, I remained in Rotary. I remained in the background very deliberately and did all the work I could do as usual. But I felt I couldn't be at the level I wanted, and therefore I am either fully into something or fully out. And that's the reason why I pulled out of Rotary. But it's an institution that remains very dear to my heart. And in whatever capacity I serve, I would endeavor to make sure that the Rotary clubs in St. Vincent get all the assistance necessary, because they are part of the mission, not unlike what the New Democratic Party is about, reaching out and enhancing the lives of people. Very proud of Rotary in St. Vincent.
You know, Daniel, as you speak about your sojourn in the Rotary Club and a lot of work that they do, especially in the northern section of St. Vincent and Grenadines, I smile because when I look at the way you operate, so I'm gonna put the onus on you. The forward test of the Rotary Club comes to mind. So just for those who are not aware of them, could you just tell us, and automatically I know Paulson's going to see why you visit everybody, why you're concerned about everybody. So,
is it the truth?
right.
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Those are the four building blocks of this very noble institution. But the decision to come out of Rotary was as I said, a very tough one for me, but it's a principled thing to do. And I believe this institution is bigger than any individual. And I'm always in contact with a number of Rotarians, and I am very pleased that those very serious principles remain in the Rotary clubs in this country, and I applaud them. I applaud them.
And
this is not to say, sorry, that there aren't other organizations like Lion that do tremendous work, but I am not as au fait with the working of those institutions as I am very closely affiliated with Rotary, and I know how they're structured and how. Just recently, I was having a conversation with a few former Rotarians, and the whole concept is how people in key positions in the society bring the strengths of their individual capacity as well as the institution that they work for or manage, bring that to bear on the service that we provide in Rotary. That's what makes it such a powerful institution, how we're able to get things done, sometimes with very limited resources. And the one project that always stands out in my mind is the water project in Fancy, where Rotarians, together with the staff of the water authority, who volunteered their service weekend after weekend to go out there, and all of the people in the Fancy give their labor for free to build the intake, the transmission, and connect up every single house in Fancy, supply the pipes and fittings and the labor. Nobody had to pay a cent to get connection. Every house in Fancy was connected to that water supply system. Through how it works, I was at a breakfast meeting at a Rotary Club in Canada and just raised the concerns of this particular community. And by the time I got back, they sent for some information, and before you know what's happening, Rotary, the club approved the project, and Rotary International matched that grant, 30,000 Canadian dollars, 60,000 EC dollars, built that system because we didn't have to pay a cent for labor. 100% contributed labor.
I remember that project.
An amazing project.
I remember you from that project because your name was up front. You practically lived out there.
Fancy remains for me.
If you were police, then maybe you would have more connections out there. But
some of my very dearest friends, they're some of the nicest people. But this is no joke about it. When you live with people, live among people, you get to know them. So some of the most sincere, the most Christian-minded, the most friendly and frank people you can come across are the residents of Fancy. It's a unique society, wonderful human beings, humble, together, excellent group of people. That is why I don't miss an opportunity with anything that's happening in Fancy. If I'm not there, it has to be something really significant that keeps me away. Yeah.
So that's good, your contribution. And I know Dr. Friday always speak about the New Democratic Party is not going to do any project if it don't benefit persons. And that remind me, is it beneficial to all concerned, not just to the politician for it to look good feelings. No, it's for actual benefit to the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines. So
it must be driven by the needs of the people, and that is what the New Democratic Party is about. We must get out of this Imanism and this nonsense about your own individual length of stay in one office and so on. The question you must ask yourself is, what have you done to make the lives of the people of this country better? How can you feel good when 40+% of the young people can't find job? When the indigent poor, the poorest of the poor, has gone up sharply under your watch? When crime has run away? When a young athlete has to go on a regional television station and stop short of crying for you to jump into the fray to look good, instead of admitting that you failed this young lady because you knew her all this time and did absolutely nothing. Nothing. Shame on you that you come now want to get glory because private sector companies have come to her rescue. Where were you and your government? Where were you?
You reach on Sports Max all thing. I mean, this guy
this is what it is about.
It's
about him. It's about him. And there are so many other young sports persons out there who need assistance. Where is the policy? And after all these years, but suddenly because everybody in the country telling him it's time to go. Suddenly he realizes he needs a sport policy. What a man. That
You
is
know,
what I call clownish behavior.
Daniel,
Clownish behavior.
I remember growing up in Montrose, you know, and going to Victoria Park, and there was cricket play there. I think I saw a game was Windward Islands thing.
Oh, those are famous
Right.
game with
We had
Grayson and
cricket.
all of the others. Yeah.
I remember Montrose playing there. I remember, and when people talk about great footballers, a person who based in the Victoria Park. So all of these teams, plus cricket, plus athletics, was taking place in this venue, and the venue was surviving, and we were producing sports persons of high caliber.
But don't forget,
Hmm.
Victoria Park was a famous ground. They said Lodge has a slope on the field. But the slope at Victoria Park was much more than that. People tend to forget that. There was a uniqueness, especially when you're playing cricket, when you hit the ball in a particular direction. You had to be a real good runner to cut that ball off because it sloped off considerably. Um, but in those days, footballers always had access to
From morning.
Victoria Park. Youngsters in the community could go in there at night. You didn't have floodlights, but who cared? People kicked football until the sun completely set. You know. Now you can't even walk in the park at certain times. This is absolutely ridiculous.
You know, Daniel, that is something that we probably could look down the road that need address, because I remember listening to a conversation in which the name of the park, and they said that well, it's Queen Victoria or whatever, said that this area was given to the people, not the
Mhm.
government, to the
Yeah.
people for them to have somewhere to have recreation. So when I see now overemphasis, let me put it that way, on buildings for TV stations and other thing, and they take precedence over sporting activities. And,
Mhm.
and I'm not seeing any development in the stands and so forth, but I'm seeing extension being added on to commercial activities, if I may say that. And I say, what were the main intention of the park, by the way?
But
And
let me show you and our listeners and viewers what NDP means for sport in this country. Quite apart from what happening, I'm just looking at West Kingston now. Quite apart from that hard court that John Horn had so much to do with in terms of its establishment and repairs and so forth. I remember Otley Hall without any sporting facility. And the late John Horn came up with this concept of building a playing field in an area that everybody thought he was mad, because space was not huge. And you had to do a lot of retaining wall and a lot of excavation to create a playing field. And John Horn decided he is going to very quickly set aside that area of land to stop people from building any house on it, and systematically started with the retaining wall and grading the place. Now, and that playing field is always available to the community of Otley Hall and surrounding area. It's one of the nicest facilities with its limited size, but you can play football, you can play cricket, you can play everything right there in the community.
is that
John
the field
Horn,
going down to the marina?
correct, correct,
Mm.
correct. And when you see it, you realize what a marvelous feat of engineering to be able to create that structure. A lot of work went into that. Huge amount of work. When I remember when John Horn came up with the idea, a lot of people laughed at him. It's not possible. Hmm? But John, God rest his soul, he never backed off, because his commitment was to the people recognizing the need. The other thing about the hall that a lot of people don't know, but is that it's through the instrumentality of the same John Horn and Claude Leach, who was then the manager of DEFCO, that the people of Otley Hall were able to come alive with water, because DEFCO owned the lands and there was a lot of problems with surveying it and so forth. And Claude Leach and I were in rounds and rounds of discussion, because the Water Authority could not connect up anybody unless the owners of the land, DEFCO, gave permission. And DEFCO had the problem in that the lands were not properly subdivided, so they couldn't give anybody title. And through the intervention of John Horn, we came up with this proposal. I said to them, listen, all you need to do is to get the persons who are living on the land to make a down payment to DEFCO. That identifies them as being interested. DEFCO agrees that they can have the land, and in future, when it is surveyed, they'll have title to it and so on. DEFCO condense it to the Water Authority. I authorize you on this basis to connect water to these people. That is how DEFCO was able to help providing some of the transmission pipes, 2.5 and 2-inch pipes. The Water Authority came in with its staff, and the people volunteered to help dig the trench again from Otley Hall, Body Gutter. I had to go through this tall grass, running pipeline, these tall razor grass, elephant grass. I remember that. I was personally involved in directing where the line should go. The community came together, and very quickly, Body Gutter, Otley Hall got water for the first time. I want the young people to know there was one standpipe by the entrance to the Otley Hall area there, and the confusion that centered around that pipe. You can imagine all the community coming there when water came to get a bucket of water, and people bathing there, washing there, bathing their children there. So when we were able to get connections to all these homes, Otley Hall was transformed. And that's through the instrumentality again of the late John Horn and Claude Leach, the then manager of DEFCO. And I know these things because I was center of them. I was part of the process. That is why, one of the reasons why when my team and I go into Otley Hall and Body Gutter, I don't need to talk politics. All of the residents of Otley Hall know whence I came. All of them know what our mission is about, is enhancing the lives of people, whether it be in roads, in water, in electricity extension, and most of all, employment and sporting facility. That's the NDP's mission. Yeah.
Listeners and viewers, and I promise you that insert in a while. I'll get to it, don't worry. Daniel, you spoke about the linkages. Let's say communication also. For those of us who know, road network is also communication. And you have been over the years calling for this kind of development. And up to this morning, I'm coming up to Sand Hill, and there's a accident on top of the hill. And within 5 minutes, the traffic is back up right down to Kingston. And I actually remember, because I said with Daniel on this morning, I see the same thing. Why is there such a reluctance to make these connections in terms of the road network?
But building highways and roads and so on are not sexy in politics, because you have to dig up this, you have to inconvenience people in the process of building. So the ULP is not going to get involved in projects. They'd rather just go and put up this big edifice that increases the debt, employs people from outside of St. Vincent, and a building that most of the time has very little use to us. That's what they focus on, because it looks good. There are projects that would create employment during construction and enhance livelihood after construction, and would make people's lives so much easier. I mean, you talking about sorry, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I sorry, I muted myself briefly. You talking about the need to you developing the leeward side of the island as a tourist destination, but I keep warning the people of this country, you know, if Sandals opens, and you have some flights coming in from wherever, there's one route to get to Sandals. If the road is blocked anywhere between the hospital, Milton Cato, and Lowman's Hill, nobody can get in or out of Sandals. And look at the nature of the roads: steep, winding bends, heavy trucks, long trailers. All the traffic from the leeward must pass on that route. I said to these clowns a long time ago, because they're behaving like the worst kind of clowns. Otley Hall, so Edinburgh, Otley Hall, Lowman's Bay, Camden Park is a viable alternative route that in case of emergency, or even in certain circumstances of traffic, you can have them going one way. You can go down on the Hall Edinburgh route and come up on the existing road. So there must be an alternative. You can't tell me you putting down a major tourism plant on the leeward side, but one road on which everything has to pass. I mean, only an idiot would see that as feasible. Anybody who has any understanding of planning and development would appreciate the urgency with which you must address the alternative route. You know, you don't have arrangements where you can take people by ferry from Argyle to Bocamaya. You don't have it. You don't have it. So invest and make your product worthwhile. And I'm sure Sandals would have warned them about this, because these are not jokers. People don't invest their money with an intention of losing. Could you imagine a set of people wanting to go and catch a flight on return or come in and get stuck for hours on the road and can't pass? How it can look? Look as dotish as the man who tried now talking about the sports policy. Same thing. They've lost their mind. They're not listening. They're not listening.
Because there, as you said, there are so many little areas you could have connection to.
Yeah.
And so forth.
Yeah.
I'm taxing my brains to try and remember that road, New Montrose area that you go up to the Johns that come back out on the main road. Was there ever a connection to there going up the hill to Topper Lowman's by where the butcher is? Was there any connection there?
No, you can't. It's difficult to create a motorable road on that slope. The road goes up into the hill, but you can't finish it off. It's very steep. It's very steep. But there are several other alternative routes. But if you go on the road by Maryfield Hospital,
okay,
that road goes right across on the ridge. There's a short distance to link that road with Otley Hall. Very short distance.
Because that's where the Bonadies have all the yes, I went down there and I was wondering where the road goes to.
Yeah, the Howards have a home down there too. Okay. That road, a short piece of road, links that with Otley Hall. And again, not the best, because that's fairly narrow and certain type of vehicle can go, but it can be enhanced. And in an emergency, that's a viable alternative. But they're not listening. And that's, again, a very short piece of road it is to link the two places, you know. I keep telling them in all the security issues in Otley Hall and surrounding area, that link road would help the police to cut out a lot of crime. A lot. But who cares? Obviously, these clowns, they don't. They don't, man. They don't.
Okay, so it's let's see what's the time. I'm looking at some it's
22.
11:38, so there were 22 minutes. Daniel, I think we're gonna take the insert now. Look, it will probably be about 15 or so minutes. That's why I hesitated, and then the commercials is another 15 minutes.
Mhm.
That will take us right up to after 12. So, folks, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep Brother Daniel a little longer. So when we take the break and come back, then we'll interact with you also while we continue that discussion, because I want to go to the area of your concern that you have raised on many occasions in terms of the fisher folks, the situation in Bottom Tongue. Rose Place is the correct name, right? Right.
Yes.
And now the situation as they move them
No,
out,
man. Say.
Women's Bay. What's the current update on all of this?
But it's a very depressing state of affair because the fisher folk asked of the government through the project, through the Ministry of Agriculture, that they develop the Lowman's Bay as a replacement for the facility that was at Rose Place. And they kicked it out. They say, no way, Jose. But what they did, they tried to break up the fisher folk by enticing some of them, giving them a $5,000 grant and tell them go and build something at Lowman's Bay. So what you have, instead of like John Horn, and I go back to him very deliberately again, the building that was demolished on the reclamation in Rose Place was the brainchild of John Horn, that provided facilities for storage and change of clothing and so forth for fisher folk with proper lockers and proper security and lighting. What they've done is giving people a few $1,000s and tell them go and do something. So you have a whole series of little shacks, very inefficiently built and of different sizes, different scattered all over the place. And it's just mayhem and very little in terms of water, roads, and electricity. And it's just a crying shame because what they've just created, it's not what one wants to see in a developing country. They've just created a ghetto-like environment. When that place could have been so organized, where you build these facilities, where people can store the stuff, where they can have little shops, they can have, because everybody has a need, including fisher folk. But they have rejected that, and what they've now created is mayhem at Lowman's Bay. It will be a tough task for us to clean up that and to make sure that the fisher folk get the kind of facility that they deserve, which is, properly organized with all of the services, that the fish, when it comes in, can be sanitary, that you don't have to have people going and easing themselves on the sand or in the water. People don't understand these basic things about fisheries, but if you land in fish in an area, you must have proper hygiene, you must have sanitary facilities on shore so that the fishermen can have proper washrooms. And anybody who is assisting the fishermen must have access to these facilities so they can sanitize before handling the fish. Things we take for granted. You have to do these things to international standard. Fish is a good source of protein for people, but you don't want people to get sick because they're eating fish that is not properly handled. But it only shows, again, this government doesn't care about the people. The fisher folk don't mean much to them because they're quick to say, oh, it's just a few people. But all those people have families. And all those people, what they do impacts the lives of many other persons who anxious to have a good supply of quality fish to make their lives better by eating more healthy. You know, some of the imported chicken that we get in this country is part of our sickness. And we've been through this before. We're not growing enough of our local chicken in the environment that we know what the chickens are feeding on. You know, these are serious things. There are some good producers here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines of both layers and broilers, but they're not enough, and so we still rely on chicken parts coming from all parts of the world without having the necessary assurance that these things are free from harmful chemicals and so forth. These are the things that any government that cares about the people will address and encourage, because it also creates opportunity for employment for a number of people. It's not just about rearing a few 50, 70 chickens in some way among the residential area without looking at the sanitary conditions. You need to have people trained, whether you're rearing pig or you're rearing fowl or goat. It can be done in an environmentally sound way, but you need to have running water, and people need to be trained about the use of the waste material to use it as a good rather than have it smelling up the place. You know, there are pigs that you can rear in a manner in a housing area that nobody has any difficulty of raising up their nose. But you see, and sometimes when we talk, people think we're talking for the sake of it. Just go back to Diamond. I remember the big hoorah when the NDP wanted to put the Diamond sanitary landfill out there. People said, not in my area. I remember at discussions with those people, I said, we are not bringing a dump into your area. We are bringing a sanitary landfill. That is a landfill, but you can drive or walk all over the compound and don't have to cork your nose, because every day the waste is managed properly. It is sorted, it is graded, it is covered. Sanitary landfill is a scientific thing. What happened at Annisville and other areas years ago was just a dump. You just throw everything there. When you get too much, you burn it, create a bigger problem. That doesn't happen. The New Democratic Party is the one that changed the solid waste management in this country. I know because I was there. I was part of it. You know. Yeah.
Definitely. So it's 14 minutes to the 12 o'clock hour, Brother Daniel. We're going to take that break. I'm going to play back your interview this morning on Hot 97, followed by the commercial break. So we should have you back in about half an hour. So you could listen offline, so to speak. For those following on the stream, after the interview with Brother Daniel, we're going to cut that stream, and then we'll create a new one in another 15 minutes after that to take back the program. So for those of you following online, you just need to rejoin at that point.
Thank you, Bert.
Okay, Brother Daniel, so I'm going to play back your presentation from this morning. Found it very, very interesting.
Okay. All right.
Let's see.
Mr. Cummings, good morning. And welcome again. It has been a while.
It has been quite a while.
It had been last time when you left there, you and Luke was up in it. Did you show you coffee and Luke? And he brought up Luke with a
Should have done it.
and I look at
I left no stone
and no stone until me. Tell him, if you have any buckets in your hand, leave it by the door. No cock here, no bucket.
Boy, you terrible.
So there you go. So Mr. Cummings is back once again. Welcome again. Well, this morning we're talking to you about sport. You're the shadow minister for health
and infrastructure.
Okay. So are we talking sports?
Yes.
Okay.
Before we get into the meat of the matter, if you had to pick a favorite sport, which one would it be?
Cricket.
Cricket?
You're a cricketer?
I can't play cricket, but I love cricket. I can't play cricket at a particular level.
Oh,
I love
and I can't play?
That's just like
I love the sport.
that's just like Luke and football.
Well, I look about a lot and a lot of things.
A lot of
but-
things.
Hey, please, oh God, please, no, no,
Okay.
Jesus, no, not today, not today, please, not today, not today. All right, so
Yeah.
we're talking sports. As the MP for what do you call it again?
West
West Kingstown. What direction is the sport going in presently?
Well, that's a very good question, my brother, because one has to look at where the government is not going. There's a government that talks a whole lot about sports. In fact, talk about everything under the sun, but delivers absolutely. You tell me. There's nothing. No. After 23 years, if you have a government just beginning to realize that they need a national sports policy, then you will understand sports for them is an afterthought. And so that is why the New Democratic Party has come up with this very important series of initiatives targeting the young people of this country. Remember, some weeks ago we had the National Youth Pledge, and now we come with the whole concept of creating an opportunity for talented young people across the board in sports to have no fear about where they're going to get financing, technical assistance, and other support to help them to achieve whatever capacity they have in sport. Gone are the days when sport was an accident. People have awakened to the fact that some of the most exciting careers in the world today are in the field of sports. St. Vincent, like all other countries, we are blessed with a number of young people who are particularly talented. What we do not have are the facilities to encourage the development of those skills and a program to ensure that they have the correct coaching, the correct nutrition, and all the rest that goes with it for them to achieve the maximum potential. What we have established, what we've done so far, is to announce the formation of this sporting policy. And what we're going to do, we've started already, is conversations with the various sporting disciplines and people who have expertise in sports to fashion that policy. But the bottom line is we want to create opportunity for financing. We don't want a situation where a young person has to go up to the Taj Mahal and create sponsorship and have barbecue and so on, just to be able to practice and to have the possibility of going to attend the Olympics or some other international sporting activity.
If I were the layperson on the street, I would tell you, I would say, you know what? I heard the ULP speak up something about sports.
Doing formulation of a sporting policy.
Right. So if I were to ask you, you sure just not a piggyback, you're a piggyback off of the ideas that they put forward when it comes to sport?
That is interesting how you flip that. We are the ones who announce our sports policy, you know. And then having done that, they suddenly wake up, oh, geez, wait, we need to have a sports policy too. And, you know, remember last election, or is it the one before, when the Ndp said we're going to reestablish a certain number of acres in bananas in our manifesto? A couple of days later, about a week later, they came out, said they're going to produce double that amount. I asked the people of this country, where are the acres of bananas they have established? Don't listen. That's what I'm saying. They're all about talk. The New Democratic Party is about people, about delivering what we say. We don't come up with plans and proposals because it sounds good. We go into deep discussion, focusing on the people of this country, how we want to assist. That is why, you know, we focus on the 4 pillars of the economy. Why we do that? You can't do anything without a vibrant economy. The people who have the best creative skills, the people who produce the best arts and crafts, the people who provide the best services, they do an excellent job, but they don't see their returns. I heard Chris talking about business. That's what business is about. But if there isn't an economy that allows people to pay for the goods and services, then how is the business going to thrive and grow? The NDP understands that under this rogue regime, the economy of this country has nosedived. I mean, unemployment is at an all-time high, particularly among the young people. On top of that, we are the lowest paid employees in the Caribbean.
We just get
We are the
raise.
just
lowest.
get raised.
Minimum wage raise.
Minimum raise, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit on top of crumbs is almost nothing. We are not talking about that. We are talking about quality jobs. You know, that is what these people are good at, window dressing. We are talking about creating quality jobs, sustainable jobs. That's what the 4 pillars is about.
Let me ask you this as it relates back to sports. So you mentioned that the economy is in the pits, in your opinion, and whatnot. Do you think?
No, that's not my opinion. That's a fact. All of the
Hey,
agencies that
trying to walk
measure
the streets
sports
after this. Just saying. So with the sporting policy that the NDP intends to establish, how supportive you think the public would be to see money being pumped into sports when the economy is said to be in
I like your
in
question.
tatters?
I like your question.
Mm.
How you think people feel about taking 50 million US out of the national insurance to invest in a hotel that you don't even show its doors can open, much more to make that could pay back, much more to make money? What we are saying is we need sound investment. An investment in our people is the best investment. You want to draw you an example? I remember when I was managing Water Authority, and I always go back to what I know, we came up with this proposal to help our staff by giving them evening classes when they are on the job. That is the best investment the CWSA made. That is, it has that institution still good, despite 23 years of the wrecking ball. It's still the best utility in the country today. Why? The people we invested in the CWSA. The same with sports. The same with sports, my brother.
Yeah, but is the CWSA that well off if we're hearing that we only have
one catchment?
One day's worth of reservoir catchment.
I didn't say that it's a utopia, you know. I was talking about the people.
Oh, okay. The manpower.
But you got to remember who were the chairman of the board during this rogue regime. You have a lady who has been deputy prime minister in Gerlin Miguel as chairman of the Water Authority with a clear political objective. What do you expect? You expect to find all they do, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead, so I wouldn't even mention the late Gad Saunders, may he rest in peace. But all they have been doing is not investing significantly in the plants of the CWSA. So that running what we left there and keeping it above board financially is basic. If you're not investing in your loan portfolio, you paid off all the loans that we have left, which were not significant to begin with. And you have not invested significantly in the development of the plant. All you're doing is rolling over. And that is not good. The CWSA has lost years of development. We should have had work on alternative sources of water, primarily groundwater, that could sustain us during the dry season because we have good resources. And the grenadines, of course, we have not addressed those.
Right.
But I'm not sporting with water. That is serious stuff.
Yeah. What could be done to revive? When I say revive sport, I'm sure you can remember there was a time that
I feel like I don't even see cricket on a Sunday anymore.
There was a time you could have been on a Sunday, you could have taken your family, go and watch a cricket game or football game or something. What could be done to revive that? Or what could the NDP do to revive that?
Siobhan John is doing it substantially in North Windward. One of the big problems we have with sports is the lack of facilities, proper facilities. And I mean, come to Sharps one of these days to see what passes for playing field. You understand? Go to Green Hill and all over the place. I mean, I am in West Kingstown. And we had a hard court in Rose Place. They chased the people off, closed it down. They built an elephant at Lowman's. It has never been open. People have never been able to play a sporting game on it. It's locked up 24/7. I mean, this is not what sporting facility is about. The people of Kingston cannot go to the Victoria Park to play a little football. The youths have no place to run. I mean, how you'd ask any of the Guy Lows and all the quality footballers over the years what Victoria Park and pastures, grammar school pastures, what it meant to them. An opportunity at any hour to run around on the field. Where is it today? Where's the field today?
A big thing of what's missing in sports, I would say, is when you get to the age of 17, 18, 19, 20, and you start to develop into maybe possibly a professional, whether in cricket, football, wherever it is. You can't
tennis, you name it.
Yeah, you can't always juggle a job, practice, and you know, and still survive.
Here's a young man who understands where the world is today. Any developing country knows, unlike your partner here. Here's a young man who understands that, and I have seen it myself, you know. I have had to reach out to a number of my friends to assist young people in my constituency who I see have tremendous potential. And what we do, we marry their academic training with the financial support for their sporting discipline and the rest that goes with. Make sure their nutrition is all right. They have the right coach, the right counsel, because oftentimes people get carried away. You know, you reach a particular mark, and if you, boy, I reach. Here is where you need to take these young people. And thank you, my brother, because one of the things we are going to do is to sit down with professionals in the field of sport to fashion our policy for how an individual will be able to approach without fear or favor, without having to know anybody, and make sure that they get the best advice, the best support. There's always a danger when you have talented people, and because they meet a certain mark, everybody jumps to support them. And oftentimes what they find inadvertently without the best advice, they lock themselves into a situation that is unhealthy in so many ways. These young people need to have the best guidance. They need to be assured that they don't have to jump into the first pond they see that traps them. They need to be able to get the best support mechanism, which is not just about funding. And you don't get anything for nothing these days, you know. That's the other thing. You want to make sure that when
it's not like you're implying something.
No, I'm not. Anything I say straight. I don't think it is.
Do you think that
Do you speak out when you see injustice around you? And do you have the courage to stand up and fight with you? Would you put your life on the line for a better land? And would you fight for a principle? Would you take a stand? Someone asked me not long ago, how far would I go? And if I think I had the courage to be a hero, I said, I'll do it for my country. I'll do it for SPG. I'll make any sacrifice once you call on me. Yes, I'll do it for my nation without hesitation. Just tell me where and what, and I'll be on the spot. You know what? Because I love my country back. She is my all. I love my country back. I'll answer when she calls.
the recent deal that was announced?
No one can
I don't know enough about it to comment. I honestly don't know enough about it to comment. And I'll go further and say the companies that support her are reputable companies, and beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Right.
Those are good companies. Yeah. But I'm saying there's always a danger that somebody may come forward with sinister ideas, that they may use the individual rather than genuinely assist. Yeah. I'm not implying that at all.
Okay.
But in this case.
So with an NDP administration, sports will be on the rise. No longer will be wanting to see.
It's just a hobby.
You know, you come for a sweat when the evening come. It is a pastime thing.
Just like culture, sport is a means of taking people out of poverty into the realm of good living. I mean, you just asked Donald Foyle how he's been able to help people in the Southern Grenadines because of his prowess in the United States in basketball. It is. And so many others. We've had good runners coming out of St. Vincent, including distance runners. People don't understand the other benefits of good sportsmen. Grenada came on the map with the javelin throw. The impact of somebody from one of these small islands winning an Olympic medal.
I mean, Kirani James, 400 meters.
Yeah. And especially if it's brass or silver, or even bronze, puts your country in an opportunity that you couldn't think of before. The value of that. That is why all these Caribbean countries do what they can to help people like Brian Lara and others, because it puts your country on the map. And that has an economic direct benefit to all of the people of the country. Sports is no longer, my brother, it's no longer this taboo thing where you hit or miss. It's big business. And what we need to do is to fashion it and encourage our young people. There are a lot of young people who, ironically, some of the best sports people develop at a late stage, you know. Just as we do in education, some of us develop later on in life. So it is in sports. And so we need to be able to identify and harness these talents to help these people achieve the standards that they can.
Let me ask one more question. Would sports be a standalone ministry under the NDP, or would it be married with something else like, I don't know, national mobilize? What do you call
No, it won't be any. It's not likely to be a standalone ministry, because one has to look at efficiency. And of course, I'm speaking out of turn because I am not likely to be the prime minister, and that is the portfolio of the prime minister. But I can assure you that Dr. Friday is not going to act like some people we know. He engages in discussion and dialogue to come up with the best plan, the best way of getting our business on. But sports is likely to be joined with things like culture, because remember, we are creating what we call the new economy. And this is what it is about: arts, drama, sports, the work, you know. All of that I can see subsumed in one particular ministry for the obvious reasons. And of course, the establishing a proper business culture. Unfortunately, in this country, you try establishing a business here and see the hoops you have to go through. We have to change that. We have to make it easy, really easy for genuine people who are interested in setting up businesses. You know, we offer all kind of carpet, every color, especially red, to foreign investors. Fine. Why not do it to our locals when they want to get involved in business? Why not create the level playing field? Make it so that our people here and in the diaspora can come and invest with the same kind of benefits as you get to other foreign investors. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Good point. Right, there you go. I had Mr. Cummins there. Always good to see you. I hope you come back again. And look at see, and this time, look, you and Luke, look.
No, man, that Luke is my friend.
No, you and Luke, look.
Unlike certain people who call me honorable friend in Parliament.
That's what he calls you? When he talks to you, don't talk to some of them.
But you all didn't see that I'm wearing.
Yeah, kind of red shirt there, whatever.
Almost red.
No, it kind of red.
No, it's almost red. You know what this tells you? This is what ULP has come to. It's almost red. The water down. That's what this is about.
Mr. Cummins, bye. Bye, Mr. Cummins, bye. Good seeing you. Have a good day. Because
remember, I Love Soca is on.
This March 14, National Heroes Day, the Block 2000 All Montrose Community Group in the Hennessy Starlift Steel Orchestra